That's my best telephone voice, that. Call this meeting to order for this afternoon. And off we go. So, welcome to Brew It Too. Now then, if you are a regular and you're one of the people that were sat waiting, ready for this to start this afternoon, hi, welcome, lovely to see you all. Hi Eric, hi to everybody. If you happen to stumble on this on catch up, please could I ask you to subscribe to the Visit Fylde Coast YouTube channel and hit that little bell for notifications. Hi Carrie. Because on our channel, under normal circumstances, we cover all kinds of content. Hi John. We've got out and about videos, we've got local history, we've got beachcombing, we've got normally interviews when I can manage to ever speak to anybody. And then of course we do Brew It Too. Now Brew It Too, if you're wondering, if you're new, if you're brand new, Brew It Too is live chat. It's a little bit hilarious sometimes. You ask questions, I try to tell you the answer, and then we just digress spectacularly and go wandering off in all kinds of different directions. So it's usually quite good fun. So that's that. Now then, the first thing that I must say is, would you do me a big favour, a fisherman's tale favour, and ask all your friends, family, random associates, anybody that passes your house in the street, to subscribe to the Visit Fylde Coast channel, because I'm trying to kind of grow our subscriber base. It's a bit of a challenge in foul weather, and I'm just going to tell you what Sean just said. In this dark, miserable lockdown weather, and when we're all riddled with coronavirus, because obviously we should all be stopping in, Sean just popped a message on the screen, and that's what stopped me in my tracks. I do a lot of stopping in my tracks. You get used to it. And Sean goes by the name of Sean Island, and Sean is literally in Ireland. And Sean was drawn at random last week to win the ad hoc random competition that we did. So you'll have seen these pictures in the background. We have a shop called SEASIDE Emporium. So I do ad hoc competitions. So Sean's got the prize. So I've got a little box here with all the stuff in it that I've popped on one side so that I don't end up forgetting stuff. So somebody's just said that they like my top. This is a several years old Marks and Spencer's one, because obviously I've not been near Marks and Spencer's. So I thought I would dress for the occasion and be bright and cheerful on a grey, dreary January day. So, with no more of ado, I have... Eric said he's had to have fish and chips after us talking about K's the other day. My husband is going to have to tell them in our local chip shop that they keep getting plugs on Visit Fylde Coast, because they're going to be... Where have I put my cardigan? They're going to be mobbed out with customers when I've done recommending them. Somebody said that they'd had fish and chips from K's, and they were I think it was you, John, wasn't it? And that they were the best ones that they'd ever had. Oh, they're lovely. They are nice. So I set everybody off wanting everybody wanting fish and chips. So I've been writing. I've got a little card, and I've been writing little notes down to myself all week about what I need to tell you, because there's loads of things. And if I'd have been a little bit more organised. I've got some of those Christmas blower things that make a noise. Oh, Colin's 44 today. Oh, happy birthday, Colin. Would you like me to sing to you? No, everybody shouts. It's raining in Doncaster. Yes, I've thawed out after Bisbee. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. Can't remember what name. I'm so terrible. Anyway, my ears, exactly. I told you I can't sing. I can't sing for toffee, but we all have our challenges. Colin, that was it. Colin Fenton, happy birthday. 44. It's all uphill from there, Colin. It gets better as you get older, like a good wine. So last week I said that I got a funny little tale to tell you about going places, because obviously at the moment we're all incarcerated and we're all kind of, you know, stuck inside in one thing and another. But I can't say that I'm a big fan of going to places anyway. And in fact, it's a bit of a standing joke that, hi Carpy Chris, it's his first time here. I bet you're wondering what you've come to. It's a standing joke with our funny little bunch of volunteers that we're not keen on going anywhere much. So I'm a beach cleaner. I look after the bit of beach outside our house, and I think it's about 5 years ago now. It might even be 6. We actually won a Queen's Award for voluntary service. Now, if you've never heard of a Queen's Award, it's the equivalent of an MBE for a group of people. So if you get an MBE for one of you, and if you're a group, you get a Queen's Award for voluntary service. It's really funny. And it's such a lovely group. It'll be 12 years, I think, this year since we started. Lovely group of people. We've achieved all kinds of different things. I had a really good time doing it. I mean, if you think about me and then multiply that by 30 or 40, and you can imagine, can't you? It's chaotic. It's chaotic but good fun. So we all trooped off to go on, what's it called, to the town hall at Preston to be awarded our award by the well, I'm coming to that in a minute, Sean. To be awarded our glass thing. It's a cut glass crystal thing that's got the I think that's T-Boy.
It's not.
It's not. It's Junior T-Boy. T-Boy in training.
No tea. No tea.
Raining in Bournemouth. Hi to Andy and Shirley. Hi, Andy and Shirley. Yeah. So I've got the thing in my cupboard down here. It's a crystal thing, and you get a certificate that's actually signed in pen by Queen Elizabeth. So that's worth saving. So along with this Queen's Award, you get the opportunity to go to a garden palace, garden party at the palace.
Garden Palace.
Well, you've never laughed as much in your life. Here comes T-Boy. Here he comes. Just got to the crux of the story, and here he comes with the tea. Come on, T-Boy. Where do we queue for autographs? You don't get autographs off me. I'm not posh enough. Thank you. Say hello, T-Boy.
Hello, everybody. I'm back.
He's back. He's back. Yeah, so you get an invitation to go to a garden party at the palace. So we sat there at one of our trustee meetings in the community centre where we have our meetings. Dave, our long-suffering secretary and my partner in crime, reads this email out that he'd got from the people who organised the award thing. So he read it out. He sat there. I would like to invite you to... Da, 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 da. And we all looked at one another. We all went,
No thanks.
oh, I don't want to go. It was really funny. And I, honestly, there were some people that I would have thought would have wanted to have gone. And we said, is it past Preston? Preston's another story. I'll tell you that another day.
After 8 o'clock.
Yeah, is it past Preston and is it past 8 o'clock? Well, no, 6 o'clock actually. So we'd all looked at one another. There's about a dozen of us on the committee. So we all looked at one another and said, I don't really want to go. Anyway, two of them did decide that they would like to go. Pam and Val, and off they went. They went on the train, and then they stayed overnight, and then they went to the garden party and all the rest of it. They were exhausted when they came back. So tiring. So if you ever get an invite, you need to buy one of those, you know, those walking sticks that open up with like a little seat on top that you can sit on. You need to take one of them, because there was nowhere to sit down. I mean, they were both in the 70s. Pam by this time is reasonably bad on her legs, so there's nowhere to sit down. You stood up all the time you're there. I don't know whether you've ever been to any of these occasions, but the rule with a rod of iron. So you've got to do everything in a. They give you all your instructions before you go, and you've got to do everything in a particular way. And you've got to, you know, mind your P's and Q's and all the rest of it. Anyway, it went down in local folklore, did that, and now when anybody ever says to the Russell Beach Residents and Community Group, would you like to go to? We all look at one another and say, no. It's really funny. You have to be there to get the humour. But if anybody is in the Cleveland area and you fancy joining a bunch of Mad Ikes, as my dad just said, yeah, should have told Lizzie to shift and sit on the throne. If you fancy joining a bunch of Mad Ikes, you'd be very welcome to come and join us when all this is over. You don't need to live in Cleveland; it's just kind of within striking distance. So that's that. So I made a note to tell you that. So I've got that one. Right. So I've also got some good news. I've got some really good news to share with you today, because, drum roll and fanfare, we've reached the target on the fundraising account. Now, if you've been on the round of applause for everybody that's donated. If you've been on the Ko-fi fundraising page, you'll see that it's not quite at the total. I think it's showing about 80%, if I remember rightly. Let me just have a look. Hold on, everything. 78% of the goal. But somebody else didn't make a donation through Ko-fi. They very kindly gave me a separate donation. So, and that was at the end of last week. So I've been on into Webley, and I've ordered the gadget that we need. Now, it's not in a very big box, and it's not very inspired looking, is it? But I'll show you. She says my phone's plugged in. How it works, you get this little splitter box. So that's the lightning connection that you plug into your camera, and then there's two separate microphones with it that you plug into here. And I've got the little gadget here, which I took out of the packet to show you. So this is what it all amounts to. So that's your little box. That's your little box, and it's like a splitter. So you see there's a 1 and a 2 on it. And then the two separate microphones, like that, go into the sockets at the bottom. And then I wear one and they wear one. So that means they're tethered together and they can't get away from me. Which is funny in itself. But that means I can interview somebody and speak myself at the same time, and there's a fluffy thing for both of them as well. In fact, I'm just wondering why I'd not put the other fluffy thing on. Anyway, these well, if you know anything about making videos, which I didn't up until, I should say, July last year. If you know anything about making videos, this Rode brand is the one that all the professionals use, and it's very expensive. So it's a little box that costs a lot of pennies. But nonetheless, they're the ones that you need to get the quality. So when I'm watching the television and I'm watching the news, I'm not actually listening to what they're saying. I'm looking to see what kit they're using and what they're waving about and what microphones they've got on and all the rest of it. Hi, boys, I love her. It's the first time she's managed to catch us live, so that's good. So we're all ready to rock and roll. So all we need now is coronavirus to do one, because we've got a list of people that we're going to pick on, so they'll enjoy that. Yeah, these are exactly what they use on television. So I've got an assortment of different microphones. I've got some cheap, these are what they call lavalier microphones, apparently. All this stuff that you know, and I never knew any of this until last year. These are called lavalier microphones that you clip onto your lapel. So I've got one or two cheap ones that are next to useless when it's windy, because they're all right inside, but they're hopeless in wind. And currently, when I'm going outside and I'm battling the wind, I'm using the microphone on from my iPhone. So I've actually got one of these little furry things, a cheap one, not a Soldier's Busby one, that I've sewn. You know, the little white thing that comes with your phone. I've sewn it over the speaker, and I find that's quite good. So if anybody else has got my problem with wind, I would suggest that that's one good solution for it. So we're all ready to rock and roll. I thought by now I might have been using it. If you're watching this on something that you can play in the comments back, somebody just put a comment on about fecal impaction. Talk about laugh. You don't need to join a comedy show, do you? You just come and have tea with us. Oh dear me, who needs to pay the BBC TV licence? So that's that. So that's exciting, that. And yeah, COVID. We were just talking about that, weren't we? So here I have two stickers from my mum and dad last week, who had their COVID jabs. Chrissy, as you can see, went on Thursday and my dad went on Friday, and I've saved them because I reckon that at some point they will become things for Antiques Roadshow, a bit like me. They'll be digging me up and saying, look at these stickers that she saved. So off we trooped. Our community health team, the GPs and the doctor surgeries and whatnot, honestly, 10 out of 10, poetry in motion. They were amazing. It was like bedlam, because you can imagine, can't you? You've got, well, 1,000 a day, mostly retired people, all trying to get to the front of the queue first, like they do. So the by far and away the worst bit of it was trying to park in the car park. But once you were in the queue, and the queue moved and they were marshalled and they were really quick, and it was in one door and out the other and jab and leaflet and all the rest of it. Brilliant. Absolutely 10 out of 10. In fact, Chrissy, my darling mother, wrote about it. So I'll put you the link in the description. I'll make a note, blog. So you can have a look, and you can, we've even got a picture of Chrissy and the doctor with the masks on, having it done, because I happen to know him, so I asked him if I could take a picture. So some of you were trying to say that as I was sort of having hysterical gales of laughter about wind, that COVID was going to be here with us for a long time, and I rather fear you may be right. I think we're going to have to get used to living with it in a completely different way. So with that in mind, I have already set up this morning Brew It Too for February. And somebody had said last week that they nearly missed it because they thought it was one that they'd seen. And I realised that they were right, that I needed to put the date on the graphic, because if I keep using the same graphic, it's going to look like it's the same one. So what I've done, you might have already seen it, I've done a new graphic. Well, it's the same graphic, but it's got a different date on. So I've done one for today, and then I've done 4 for February. That's the one. I've done 4 for February, so they're all set up, ready and waiting, and you can set your reminders, and then you'll not forget them. So I reckon we're going to be brewing it to in until the end of February, probably longer. And if by the end of February we've ended up with a well, big audience, we might be doing this forever, aren't we? But that all depends how many people watch it and how much you want it to continue. Yes, only me's got the reminders set. Yes, we're all sick of COVID, but needs must. Absolutely, I agree, Christine. We need to keep safe, and we need to look after ourselves. I've got something to show you. I've just looked over there. T-Boy is rustling, and he's just reminded me of something. Are you ready? So, you know how T-Boy is a bit natty with a pencil? Well, so it turns out that junior T-Boy in training is also natty with a pencil. So, I don't know, about 2 or 3 years ago, I might have shown you one of his earlier pictures that he'd done. But this is another. He's working his way through all our dogs that we've had. So he's done a few of them, but not all of them. So this is a picture that is drawn in coloured pencil of our dog, who was Katie. Katie came before the 2 that we've got now, and she was a Japanese chin. And my husband has drawn that with pencils, coloured pencils, from a photo. So I think he's done really well there, and that's the original as well. It looks just like her. Now Katie had a bit of a funny treat. You know how we're all weird in this house? Mm-hmm. Well, even the animals are weird. Katie used to suck our thumbs. Yes, really. Right from fetching her as a tiny little puppy. They're amazing when they're puppies. In fact, Coco, the one that we've got now, the vet cracked out laughing when he first saw him when we fetched him. And he said he'd seen bigger hamsters. And Coco literally was about that big. And we had a dog crate for him, and he couldn't even get over the step to get into his dog crate. So you can tell how big they are. Yeah, we had a pile of Stephen King books for him to climb up so that he could get into the crate. So when we fetched Katie back, she'd got this thing for sucking your thumb, and she literally got your thumb in her mouth, like you do. And she would sit there and she would suck it just like a baby sucks a bottle, until she fell asleep. And when you're done, you know, when you've been in the bath and you've had your hands underwater and they go all wrinkly and crinkly, your thumb came out of her mouth looking like a shriveled up prawn. And then she'd be sat there like half an hour all at once, just sucking your thumb, and she always did that right up to dying. So there you go, that was our lovely Katie. Has the snow gone? Somebody's just said. What yes, snow? It has. What snow? What snow? We had a goldfish for 17 years. Tried to jump out of its tank. Well, actually, I know a little bit more about fish as well, because we've got some of them in the garden. And when they jump like that, it's called flashing. And they do it because there's either pollutants or not enough oxygen in the water. There you go. Didn't know that, did you? So, what was I going to say then? Snow, that was it. Yeah, the other morning, what day was it? Anybody remember?
Oh, Saturday. Friday.
Saturday, we
Saturday.
think. Colin had a goldfish and it drowned. That's poor Colin. It might be your birthday, but you need to improve your jokes. Get a new book. Yeah, I think it was Saturday morning. And we kind of got this, you know, like it does. And there was just a thin skim, and within an hour it had gone. And somebody described it as being, I can't quite remember what the words were, but it was something to the effect of awesome snowstorm, or worse, that effect. And I actually read it out to my mum, and she said, awesome snowstorm. She says it never were in a month of Sundays, and you know, 3 flakes round here, and everybody gets overexcited. So yeah, the snow's gone. But when I went to Bispam yesterday morning, it was very icy underfoot. In fact, I went motoring up our drive, because at the side of the Explore with Russ has a dog which had the intelligence of a daffodil and tried to chase parked cars. Well, a daffodil's intelligent. Oh, Carpy Chris says that fish also jump out of the water to clean their gills and get rid of parasites, Kevin.
Wow.
So, does Carpy Chris keep carp? Perhaps. That's a good question, isn't it? Get typing Carpy. And if you do, we want to know what kind of carp and all the rest of it. What was it about then? Ice in Bispam. Yeah, so I went steaming up the drive to open the gates and got to kind of where the fence and the house sort of make a bit of a shelter. So the first bit of the drive was quite all right. There was no ice on it, and then from the sort of end of the house and the fence up to the gates, it was like a skid pan, and I thought, oh, watch myself here because I'm going to end up flat. So I was very careful yesterday morning in Bispam because the pavements were treacherous. It looked like there'd not been any gritting done practically at all. So Carpy Chris is the fisherman, and yes, he used to keep carp. So we will call on you, Carpy Chris, when we have trouble with our fish pond, because it's the bane of my poor husband's life. Drives him up the wall, it does. And somebody else had written something which I have forgotten. It went up. I'll see if I can find it. Because when oh, here we go, just a minute. Right, just a sec while I just scroll back. Oh yeah, John had said that there's no snow in Barnsley, but there's plenty of thieves about nicking dogs. That's terrible, that. We get our fair share of that round here, to be fair. And I think it's a national problem that people see dogs and they just think that they can nick them, and they take them for all kinds of different things, which we'll not go into at the moment. Very unpleasant. So, just a second, my chat's disappeared. Colin says, could I say hi to his mum Pearl? She loves watching the channel. So, hi Pearl, nice to see you. Nice to see you nice. Carpy Chris says, yes, that's why I got rid of my pond. It's hard work. Exactly. I think Kevin would agree with that. We've got a bottom drainer on our pond. So the water, if you can imagine your pond's that shape, we've got like a hole in the bottom, and it feeds out of the bottom of the pond into a filter tank, cleans it, and then feeds it back in. So this hole in the bottom is quite big. It's quite a hole, and it has a lid on it to stop the fish going down it. I can feel Kevin's blood pressure lifting as I'm telling you this. And it'll not be the first time that he's ended up going into the pond, which is about 5 feet deep, to put the lid back on because the lid's come off. in winter. And it'll not be the first time that we've had a fish down the pipe as well. But they knock it off, don't they? They get the nose underneath it, because it's like a plastic domed lid like that, and they get the nose underneath it and they flip it up like that. So he's modified it. He's done an Inspector Kevin on it, and he's modified it and put a cane on so that he can see when it disappears. Anyway, moving on. A couple of weeks ago, I read a poem out from John, which was a really nice poem. It was about the ogre, and I've had a little bit of a technical problem with one or two videos. You might have noticed that one or two seem to have gone missing, and when you can't put a brick on it because it's curved. I've tried that. When you've finished your video, what you do is obviously what we're doing now is live and online, but then it uploads another version, and I think it's like a high definition version, and once or twice it sort of got stuck, and it's not saved it. So the one where I read John's poem out about the ogre was one of the unfortunate ones where it got deleted, and poor John tried to show his mate this video that he'd had read out, poem. So I'm going to read it again for the benefit of anybody that missed it the first time, and for the benefit of John. So if you go down to the prom today, you're in for a big surprise. Sitting on the beach at Russell is the ogre with the big red eyes. I wish someone would clean him and wash away the moss. He's covered in seaweed and algae. Let's have some respect for the boss. There's St Mary's shell sitting there on the sand, metal in structure with a mossy green band. The ogre's paddle lies there on the prom, with carvings for us all to see, holiday makers and for us all to enjoy, including both you and me. The beach is looking ever so clean, that's thanks to the volunteers. It's a credit to them that has done this for us. It hasn't looked this good for years. That's absolutely true, John. So that was written by John Hitchon in 2018, and I think that's a very good poem, and I've actually put that on our page on Visit Cleveland's about the ogre. And if you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about, the ogre is part of our mythic coast trail at Cleveland's, and it's a series of artworks on the seafront, and if you come to Cleveland's you won't miss them because they're not little. And the ogre is, from a distance it looks like a big rock, and when you get near up to it you can see that it's an ogre, and it disappears under the water twice a day because it tangles. So that's John's poem, and I have to say I think I read that out much better the second time. So I think you did quite well out of that, John. I think you got a better rendition. So we can rechristen Brew It Too, Watch with Mother, or Jack and Ori, whichever you prefer. We'll not get onto that one again because last time we did old stuff. We were there forever, weren't we? Right, so while we're on the beach, Jack and Ori with Jane, and that rhymes. While we're on the beach, a couple of weeks ago, I was beside myself with excitement when I found a sea bean, and this was sea bean number 1 that I showed you. And it might not look very remarkable, but it's got a little bit of a, it's got a little bit of a sort of a shadow on one side of it, where on that side where it's been joined into its seed pod, and it's a bit like a conker to look at. So that was sea bean number 1. And if you've watched the video about mermaids' purses, you might have seen me squeaking and saying, oh, I found another one. 25 years I've been looking for things on that beach, And never ever found one of these, and I found 2 on the bounce, so I was beside myself. So here we are, I've got another one, so that's dried up a little bit. You can see it's shrunk, and they're really light. And these are, they're also known as drift seeds. Ooh, it's alive, that one. They're also known as drift seeds because they come from the Caribbean. Now, I've had to look the Caribbean up, despite the fact that I've got a world map on my desk thing, you know, to write on your desk jotter thing. So they come from the Caribbean, and the tropical seeds that come all the way through the sea, because they're designed to float, to populate new places and grow in different places. And looking them up to see whether or not, because I thought there were sea beans, but never having found one before, I didn't know what I'm looking at. So in looking it up on good old Google, I discovered that the term drift seeds is given to all of the things that bob about in the water and disperse by floating. And obviously the coconut is the most well-known one. I'm not quite sure what kind of plants these come from, but I didn't kind of get to that. There didn't seem to be any pictures of the plants. But there you go. So that's come all the way from in between Brazil and America. So there you go. Sea beans. I've dropped the other one. I've dropped it underneath my desk. The sea beans, as in Jack and the Beanstalk. So you can see on the bottom of it there where it's got like a matte area on it where it's been fastened into its seed case. And they're really, really light. Amazing. See, I don't know that the sea bees, that's another thing. Sea bees as in BEES. They're the hexagonal. If you've seen sea defences that are made out of what look like big concrete washers, they're sea bees. And then of course there's sea glass. And I've got loads of sea glass. It's downstairs. We've got a jar. We've got a glass jar that we keep it in because it looks pretty against the light. Yeah, they do look very much like conkers, and they've been halfway around the world for me to find and put on my desk and show you. Can't say better than that, can you? So, have we got any questions? Have we got any questions for this week? Or is there anything that you want to know? I'll just have a slurp while you type me a question. If anybody wants any birthday messages, or congratulations, or anything like that, reading out when we do Brews It Too, can you send me an email and just let me know which week you want it reading out on, or you know, your birthday is on the 24th of February or whatever, because then I won't forget, and I can print them out, and I can make sure that yes, sea beans are hamburger beans. Colin says, can we have Brew It Too cups? Now, it's funny that you should mention that, Colin, because the thought had crossed my mind. I'm on the same page as you. Leave it with me. I'll write it down. Cups. I quite fancy the Brew It Too cup. John says, did I receive the 2 photos of Derby Baths that I sent via email? Yes, I believe I did. Haven't got around to doing anything with that yet. If anybody sends photos or interesting historical stuff or whatever, usually what I do is I will reply to you to acknowledge that I've received it, and then I put stuff on one side, and then do my updates sort of all at once. So it could be 12 months before I end up using something, but eventually I always do, and I will always tell you when I've published it. So I will always send you a link and tell you that I'm not dead, and that I've used the content that you very kindly sent to me, because I get loads of stuff, as you can imagine. Ooh. I got an email yesterday from somebody making a documentary for Discovery Channel, wanting to use a piece of my film. Well, yeah, right about that then. And yes, Heinz were lying. There are 58 varieties of beans, not 57. I'm just going to show you these. These are an order that T-Boy has just been making for a customer. That somebody's ordered these. So these are our beach folk. I mean, he's not on a beach, is he? He's on a lawn. So that's somebody that's gardening. So T-Boy's drawn the T-Boy's drawn the person, and then it's superimposed onto one of our photograph backgrounds. So this T-Boy is bird watching. T-Boy, beach folk. This one is flying his kite. These are all based on sort of people that you might know. Building sandcastles. Painting. I would say it's me, but it's. I think he might have modelled it on me, but it's not. She's got my 3/4 feet. And this one is walking the dog. Note that she's got a bag of poo. So that lady had ordered all birthday cards, so she obviously knows people who they will fit for. But if you're struggling for cards and things while we're in lockdown, we have a full range, and you can have that personalised Valentine's Day, whatever. Yeah, they are a bit like the old saucy postcards. You could do some of them. That'd be funny. Yeah, saucy postcards. Don't know whether they might end up getting banned. So I thought I'd just show you them anyway while we are here, while we are gathered today. Eric said, has anybody ever slept underneath the pier? Well, if you've ever looked underneath the pier, I'm going to do another demo. Are you ready? Are you ready? If you've ever looked underneath the pier is sort of straight like that, and then the land is like that, and then underneath it there's like a sort of a wiggle. It sort of goes like that as it comes down onto the beach. I think the pier's very straight, is it? So there's like a little concrete bit here, and then it drops down onto the beach. So I will guess that people have slept underneath the pier, not underneath the pier legs on the sand, because they'd be glugging, wouldn't they? They'd be glug, 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 glug. I think probably on the little concrete ramp thing. So I would say yes. I can remember damming little streams underneath one of the piers. I think it must have been South Pier.
No.
No?
No.
North, he says.
Yeah.
As a probably 7-year-old, and a £5 note fluttering down to me. Oh, I thought I'd won the lottery. I sat there with my little sun hat on and my little spade and my bucket, digging dams and like you do, and it just came fluttering down and fell into my lap, and I went, oh, £5. In the days when £5 was a lot of money. So there you go, that's it for today, I think. Wonder when they will have to replace the steel underneath the piers. It must be rusty. Well, did you see the video about the tram tracks? Because there are tram rails on the beach. And only me says it was my £5. Can I have it back, please? No, you can call it a tip. Tram rails used to hold the growing boards up on the beach, and apparently they were a really high carbon content, so that might be why the piers are still standing, because there's so much carbon in the old pier legs that the top surface is really rusted, but there's loads of metal underneath. So I reckon that's the answer. So I think that's it. I think I've exhausted everything I've got to tell you, and I need to get off now and do some work. So without any more of ado, and I'm going to drink the rest of my cold tea as well. Without any more of ado, get your reminders set for next Tuesday, and we will join you for Brew It Too next week. And I think I need a new card to carry on writing bits down to tell you, because I have to write it down there and then, because what I remember today I'll have completely forgotten by next week. So without any more of ado, I will bid you afternoon. Don't forget to tell all your mates to subscribe and get notifications, and then we'll have a right big Brew It Too, come we? So have a lovely afternoon. Stay dry, stay safe, look after yourselves, and keep tuning in for all our videos. See you next week, folks. Toodaloo. Bye. Oh, just a minute. Call this meeting to order. Order!